All right, just stepping away to see if we can chat with our reporter on the ground for you here as we continue to take a look at this area of Howell Mill Road. Again, this is where you have a number of businesses, some residential spaces, just really a busy area typically. And I do believe she's trying to get set up here. So we're going to try to get a hold of her. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can find some video for you here, just showing some of the area earlier today. While we wait for Brittany to jump on camera with us here, I'm just going to cut away back to our Atlanta News First page right here, where we are, as you can see, streaming that for you, just the latest run through of what's been going on. We are following an active investigation into a gas leak from a high pressured line. This has been ongoing since about 11:30 a.m. and I do believe our reporter Brittany Ford is ready to talk to us. We're going to try to see if we can get her on the line here and see if she's available to give us a bit of an update on what's going on out there. Brittany, can you hear me all right? Hey, so we have been kind of showing the scene. We just saw you spoke with Atlanta Fire and Rescue officials. What can you tell us from kind of standing there and seeing what's been going on?
Are assisting Atlanta Gaslight here as they say that crews were out here putting in a fiber internet gas line, and that is when they struck this gas line. And surrounding businesses here are still open, but employees are being told to shelter in place for precautionary purposes. Again, there's a Piedmont Hospital facility here. There is a very busy shopping center with the Verizon, Starbucks, Wendy's. All of these surrounding businesses right now are in a shelter in place order. Again, we just learned from fire officials that there were crews out here this morning putting in a fiber internet cable, and they struck a gas line, and that's how this all started. Fire officials say they actually happen to have incidents like this happen all the time and more frequently now, again, with the popularity of the fiber internet installation that is happening across the metro Atlanta area. As far as where things are right now, fire officials tell us that this roadway will remain closed for the next possibly several hours as they work to mitigate the issue. Right now, again, there's no timeline of when they're expecting those repairs to be completed. This is a very busy road, Howell Mill Road, in this intersection here, especially rush hour, which we're just a couple of hours away from right now. Very busy. They have no timeline right now when they expect this leak to be completed, but did say that Atlanta Gaslight is leading this investigation, that the fire department is helping and assisting, and we'll bring you the latest updates on air and online as they come in. I'll send it back to you.
Really appreciate the update, Brittany. We're going to stick with your camera here as we try to bring folks a live picture of what's going on as these details develop. I know you just got to the scene. We'll check back in with you, see if we can talk to any residents in the area as well. All right, taking that live for you so you can see what's going on. As I mentioned earlier, as Brittany just said, you have several city crews assisting with this. We saw a police vehicle. We heard moments ago as Brittany brought us a live conversation with the Atlanta Fire and Rescue Chief, kind of giving us a bit of an update of what's going on. And then you just heard from Brittany explaining basically that with these types of fiber internet gas lines being installed more and more, the fire department is responding to more situations like this. And they said that they understand what the gas line is. What they are doing is a precaution to make sure that all the businesses and residents in the area are as safe as they can be, so that shelter in place is staying in place essentially until they can give an update on that gas leak. But you can see some of the work being done there, as Brittany just explained, and no estimated clear time on when that will resolve, but we're going to keep the shot up for you. This is, again, along Howell Mill Road. If you are someone who passes through this area, you are going to be redirected around Holly Street and the I-75 overpass. So if you want to just pursue those alternate routes and stay clear of this area, we recommend that you do so, as you are ultimately not going to be able to pass through here. Again, that gas leak coming from a high pressure fiber optics internet gas line, according to fire and rescue officials. And they are investigating and trying to repair this as quickly as possible, get that roadway open up and lift the shelter in place order. No clear estimate on when all of that will happen. So we're going to stay right here live with you on Atlanta News First Plus. And as you can see, several crews responding to this area just stepped away just to check on any updates we can bring you, including kind of where the investigation and where the repair efforts are at this point in time. Again, this has been an ongoing leak since about 11:30 this morning. They are working tirelessly to get this resolved as quickly as possible, considering the impacted businesses in the area, considering the impacted families in the area, but no clear timeline that we have been given so far. They are just asking for everybody's patience. But just giving you a picture of this area, I'm sure many of you are familiar and have driven through here. This is currently blocked off, this entire 1800th block of Howell Mill Road, this section. You're just not going to get through this area. You are currently being redirected. If you have already come close to where this investigation, where these repairs are ongoing, you're being redirected to Holly Street and the I-75 overpass. It's recommended that you pursue those alternate routes at this time, as this area is, as you can see, visibly blocked off. Atlanta Gas on scene, Atlanta Fire and Rescue on scene, police as well assisting with this. And we just spoke to our crew on the ground, our reporter Brittany Ford, talking to the chief, asking, what they think could have led up to this. And they don't have an exact cause at the moment. That will come later in the investigation. But what we can tell you is that crews were putting in a fiber internet line and struck a gas line, and then surrounding businesses and employees, again, now being told to shelter in place. That's where we are in this at the moment, and waiting to hear any update on that and when they can go about their day. But Atlanta Gas leading the efforts right now, and Fire and Rescue, of course, assisting. No clear timeline on when those repairs will be completed and that road can open back up to traffic as we get into the later afternoon and commuting hours, really. But we're going to try to get you that interview again with the fire chief that we took you out to live moments ago, about 10 minutes ago. We were able to talk to Atlanta Fire and Rescue and get a brief update, some of which I just relayed to you now. But the gist of it is that if you are in this area, you're just going to want to pursue some alternate routes. If you are a business or resident that's been told to shelter in place, you should be planning to continue to do so until you get a further update, and that's what we're working on learning for you as well. and we're continuing to monitor the situation. You can see fire officials, gas officials, really city crews responding to this gas leak that has caused a shelter in place for the vicinity of Howell Mill Road. I did just get this update from Atlanta Gaslight, I should say a statement. I'm going to just play that on your screen for you here. This is directly from Atlanta Gaslight saying, quote, "At Atlanta Gaslight, the safety of our employees, customers, and the public is our #1 value. A contractor not affiliated with Atlanta Gaslight damaged our gas line. Atlanta Gaslight crews are currently on site working to safely repair the damage." So a little update for you there as we continue to monitor this situation. Here is what we know of what happened from hearing from Atlanta Fire and Rescue and now hearing from Atlanta Gas, saying that there was an ongoing effort to put in a fiber internet line, and that had struck a gas line. Now, Atlanta Gas saying that the contractor who was installing this was not affiliated with Atlanta Gaslight and that they are on scene helping with the repairs, but they wanted to, in their statement, clarify that the initial incident involving the crews that put in the fiber internet line and eventually striking the gas line, as Atlanta Fire and Rescue pointed out, they are not affiliated with Atlanta Gasline according to the gas company. So there was, again, earlier this morning, just before 11:30 a.m., work being done as usual in this city, and crews were putting in a fiber internet line. They ended up striking a gas line. That gas line is a high pressured line, prompting a shelter in place out of concern for the residents and businesses in the area, and they are quickly working to make repairs. You can see Atlanta Fire talking with our photographer here, trying to get some updates for you as we continue to piece together where they are in this investigation, try to get you an estimated clear time for those of you traveling through this area and following along with us. But I'm just trying to keep this shot up so you can really see as best as we can bring you up to those repair efforts. This is along Howell Mill Road. That whole area has been closed off with traffic being redirected to Holly Street and the I-75 overpass. And again, you were taking a live look right now, just in front of your camera. Really off of your screen is our photojournalist talking with Atlanta Fire and Rescue. Earlier, we were able to take you to an interview that we were able to do and get an update on this investigation. I'm going to play that for you if you missed the beginning part of this stream, just so you can follow along with us. Again, we're learning minute by minute the details of this investigation, of this repair effort, and what led up to that gas leak, and working to find out at this time, for those of you that are being impacted by this, when that shelter in place order will be lifted and repairs can be made to reopen Howell Mill Road.
Battalion Chief Michael Roman, Michaelroman, with Atlanta Fire Rescue.
Tell me what you're responding to here this afternoon.
This morning, about 11:20, we got a report of a smell of gas leak in the area. Our initial unit arrived and started doing readings in the area and discovered that there's a below-grade boring crew that's doing the optic lines for upgrading the internet systems in the area. They hit a 6-inch gas main, and they upgraded the alarm to a full assignment. We added additional units of resources to the area to help identify a hot zone and to see exactly what we were dealing with. Fortunately for us, the hot zone where the gas leak is on the exterior. The neighboring buildings are not of any hazard. We've sheltered in place with those people. A lot of medical officers are involved, and we're doing continuous monitoring with everyone interior on those.
So just so I get an understanding, you were saying that it's with crews that are working on an internet line here that may have, is that Is that what you were saying?
It's common in the area now. We see the fiber optics, all those companies are upgrading the internet systems, and to get those pieces in place, they have to do some horizontal boring underground and put those lines in place. So it's fairly common nowadays, and one hazard we've run into is that they do hit gas lines underneath and cause hazards like what we're dealing with this morning.
So that's what a crew was out here doing today.
Exactly, yeah. So it's 6-inch main, which is a big deal. It puts out a lot of gas, but fortunately the weather's working in our favor. We got good winds that helps dissipate much faster, so our hot zone is much smaller this morning.
Where are you guys at right now with mitigating the situation?
Atlanta Gas, one of our partners in public safety, they showed up fairly well with a lot of force. They brought 2 ground crews to help us, and they've got 2 crews working right now to try to mitigate and stop the leak as effectively as they can. And as soon as they showed up, they went right to work. And they're managing the scene as a primary resource right now for us. We're on standby for safety. We've got hand lines in place in case something does happen. We're ready to go.
How long do you anticipate the road to be closed here?
Right now, unfortunately, we do have the road closed in the Howell Mill and 75 area because we can't allow any movement of people and traffic. I don't know, hopefully sooner than later. As soon as they dig into those holes and cap those lines off and stop a leak, then they could begin the repair process. But until that happens, we're going to have a full shutdown of this area.
And a continued shelter in place?
Correct. That building is being monitored continuously, and we are shelter in place. It's not a hazard.
Doc, before they do the construction and things like that, don't the gas company usually come out and mark where those lines are?
That is part of the process and the responsibility of those companies that do that type of work. Oftentimes the accuracy on that, I really can't speak on it, but we run into this on a fairly common basis.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, just wanted to show you that video, taking you back out live
Battalion
here.
Chief Michael Roman.
Oops, sorry about that, guys. Taking you back out live here on the scene. Let me drop that bug to not confuse you. This is a live picture of Howell Mill Road. I did not mean to clap into the microphone. I apologize for anyone I startled there. But just the latest information on what we have. There is currently and still actively a shelter-in-place order. For those of you in the Howell Mill Road vicinity, we are waiting to get any sort of update out to you, as I'm sure you'll hear from officials in the area of when that shelter-in-place order is expected to be lifted. At this time, you are asked to continue to shelter in place as the gas leak repairs remain ongoing and the street remains blocked off along Howell Mill Road. Again, this has been an ongoing scene since about 11:30 this morning. Atlanta Fire and Rescue speaking to us moments ago, kind of giving us an idea of really what led up to this. They do not have a clear cause, but they did say that there was a crew installing a fiber gas line, and at some point there was some sort of incident. The gas line was struck basically, and now they are dealing with a gas leak in that area. Again, I'm just going to play some earlier video for you. I believe our live camera just went down here, so we're going to move to some video that we shot from First Alert Chopper earlier, just showing you the initial response to this gas leak. If I can get that live camera back up, I will take you back out live, but the scene right now is the road remains closed off and crews are working as efficiently and quickly as possible to safely repair and reopen this area. Right now, this is video from First Alert Chopper, just showing you the scene from earlier today as Atlanta Fire and Rescue and city crews responded to this gas leak. And we know now from speaking to fire officials and that statement that we received from Atlanta Gas indicating that this was the result of an ongoing project that they were doing in the Howell Mill Road area. They were trying to install a fiber internet line when a gas line was struck, causing a leak. Now, the concern remains with the leak coming from a high-pressured line. So, as a safety initiative out of safety concerns, they have issued a shelter-in-place order for residents and businesses in this area as they work to repair that line and then hopefully lift the shelter-in-place order for those of you in the area. If this is a place that you pass through, as we're getting closer and closer into our after-work commuting hour, just stay up to date with us. Download the Atlanta News First app. We will send you major updates on this ongoing situation and whether you need to stick to your alternate routes. Right now, traffic is being redirected to Holly Street and the I-75 overpass. All right, keeping it right here on this video that we are showing you from First Alert Chopper earlier this morning. Again, this has been an ongoing situation since 11:30 this morning. It is currently 1:25. We are continuing to monitor the progress of repairs, the progress of this investigation, working to get you any answers on what is going on in that area. Our crews right now talking to some of those impacted businesses will hopefully be able to share with you, and you can hear from here momentarily. But this is earlier this morning. This is within the first initial hour of when that gas leak was reported and crews started responding to the area. First Alert Chopper kind of showing you a fire truck in the area. We know that Atlanta Gas is in the area as well as and local law enforcement. All hands on deck assisting with this repair as residents and businesses are asked to shelter in place. And Howell Mill Road, if you don't know, is a fairly busy area. You have bus stops here. You have a number of restaurants and businesses. You have some homes as well that are now all impacted by this. This is also a regular route that folks commute through, especially as we get further and further into the afternoon and evening. But right now, what we do know is that Atlanta Fire and Rescue are on scene. Atlanta Gas is on scene. We heard from both companies and departments kind of piecing together what led up to this gas leak for us. Now, crews were apparently putting in a fiber internet line when a gas line was struck. That shelter-in-place order coming from the concerns that the leak happens to be on a high-pressure line. So to avoid any possible catastrophic updates with this as they work diligently to make repairs. They are asking residents to kind of stay put, shelter in place, refrain from approaching this area, and that they are keeping the area contained and working to make those repairs. They've assessed the situation. Now it's just a matter of making sure that they can effectively repair that line, get traffic moving through, and lift that shelter in place order. This is along the 1800th block of Howell Mill Road. Again, traffic currently being redirected to Holly Street and the I-75 overpass. So if you can avoid this area as best as you can and kind of plan ahead, stay with us as we work to get you any updates to this ongoing investigation and those repair efforts. You're taking a live, you're taking an on the ground look of the current situation. A shelter in place order has been issued for surrounding businesses and residents in this area of Howell Mill Road in Atlanta. This is all stemming from a gas leak that was prompted a wide response from officials. Atlanta Fire and Rescue, Atlanta Gas on the scene as early as 11:30 this morning, responding to this gas leak. We did get more information and details into our newsroom. The main information that we have right now, working to get you an update, is when that shelter in place order can be lifted for you surrounding residents and businesses. No clear time on that at the moment. What we do know is that gas leak shutting down Howell Mill Road in this area to traffic, that happened just before 11:30 this morning. Officials telling Atlanta News First that crews were putting in a fiber internet line when a gas line was apparently struck. Now, we did hear from an Atlanta Gaslight spokesperson who said that the contractor was not affiliated with the utility company that had damaged the line. I want to show you that full statement from Atlanta Gas Company, Atlanta Gaslight, saying that, quote, at Atlanta Gaslight, the safety of our employees, customers, and the public is our number one value. A contractor not affiliated with Atlanta Gaslight damaged our gas line. Atlanta Gaslight crews are currently on site working to safely repair the damage, end quote. And again, that directly from the gas company responding to this incident. As you can see here, this is video that we took you out live to just a little over 15 minutes ago. This is still currently the scene. They are working to make repairs as quickly and efficiently as possible before they can go ahead and reopen the road to traffic and lift the shelter in place order.
Battalion Chief Michael Roman, Michaelroman, with Atlanta Fire Rescue.
Tell me what you're responding to here this afternoon.
This morning, about 11:20, we got a report of a smell of gas leak in the area. Our initial unit arrived and started doing readings in the area and discovered that there's a below-grade boring crew that's doing the optic lines for upgrading the internet systems in the area. They hit a 6-inch gas main and they upgraded the alarm to a full assignment. We added additional units of resources to the area to help identify a hot zone and to see exactly what we were dealing with. Fortunately for us, the hot zone where the gas leak is on the exterior. The neighboring buildings are not of any hazard. We've sheltered in place with those people. A lot of medical officers are involved, and we're doing continuous monitoring with everyone interior on those.
So just so I get an understanding, you were saying that it's with crews that are working on an internet line here that may have, is that what you were saying?
It's common in the area now. We see the fiber optics. All those companies are upgrading the internet systems, and to get those pieces in place, they have to do some horizontal boring underground and put those lines in place. So it's fairly common nowadays. And one hazard we've run into is that they do hit gas lines underneath and cause hazards like what we're dealing with this morning.
So that's what a crew is out here doing today?
Exactly.
Exactly,
yeah. So it's 6-inch main, which is a big deal. It puts out a lot of gas. But fortunately, the weather's working in our favor. We got good winds that helps dissipate much faster. So our hot zone is much smaller this morning.
Where are you guys at right now with mitigating the situation?
Atlanta Gas, one of our partners in public safety, they showed up fairly well with a lot of force. They brought 2 ground crews to help us, and they've got 2 crews working right now to try to mitigate and stop the leak as effectively as they can. And as soon as they showed up, they went right to work. And they're managing the scene as a primary resource right now for us. We're on standby for safety. We've got hand lines in place in case something does happen. We're ready to go.
How long do you anticipate the road to be closed here?
Right now, unfortunately, we do have the road closed in the Howell Mill and 75 area because we can't allow any movement of people and traffic. I don't know, hopefully sooner than later. As soon as they dig into those holes and cap those lines off and stop a leak, then they could begin the repair process. But until that happens, we're going to have a full shutdown in this area.
And it continues shelter in place?
Correct. That building is being monitored continuously, and we are shelter in place. It's not a hazard.
Don't, before they do the construction and things like that, don't the gas company usually come out and mark where those lines are?
That is part of the process and the responsibility of those companies that do that type of work. Oftentimes, the accuracy on that, I really can't speak on it, but we run into this on a fairly common basis.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
And taking you back out live, this is, excuse me, not live. This is from earlier this afternoon. We were taking you to First Alert Chopper over the scene of the response efforts surrounding this gas leak. Currently, ongoing repairs being made. They are trying to work as efficiently as possible to clear this roadway and lift the shelter-in-place order for the surrounding area. However, we have not received an update at this time of the timeline of when that can expect it to be. So we're keeping on top of this for you here live on Atlanta News First Plus. Just want to walk you through everything that we know so far, what we're still trying to work out, and the details of this. We did hear just before 11:30 the crews were responding to Howell Mill Road, this section in particular that you're looking at of Howell Mill Road, in response to a leak that was reported. Now, officials have since told us that crews were apparently putting in a fiber internet line when a gas line was struck. Atlanta Gas Light responding to the scene, but they did issue us a statement that I want to put on your screen here and read out to you just on their side of things, as several city departments and crews are assisting with the repair efforts involved in this. Atlanta Gas Light saying, quote, "At Atlanta Gas Light, the safety of our employees, customers, and the public is our #1 value. A contractor not affiliated with Atlanta Gas Light damaged our gas line. Atlanta Gas Light crews are currently on site working to safely repair the damage," end quote. So that's directly from the gas company. Again, keeping it right here to this First Alert Chopper video that we managed to get you earlier today, kind of showing you the scene, showing you, as you can see, the departments that were responding in some of that gas leak coming up into the air. You saw fire crews on scene, Atlanta Fire and Rescue, Atlanta Gas, as I just mentioned, police as well. And the crews that were initially working on this project earlier this morning helping now with the repairs. So their day looking a lot differently than what they had planned for walking into work today. So as you can see, surrounding businesses just waiting for updates and word on when their shelter-in-place order can be lifted. For the motorists out there, for those of you passing through this busy area, you have businesses, you have residential space, you have a bus stop, public transportation in this area. Your alternate routes are going to be Holly Street and I-75 overpass. If you approach this area, you are not going to be able to go through. They will redirect you to Holly Street and I-75. So might as well go there anyway. Taking you to the ground video that we were able to bring you live earlier today. Again, our Atlanta News First crews on scene right now. Atlanta News First Brittany Ford will have more for you here coming up at 3, talking to local businesses, talking to some of the folks that are now waiting for this shelter-in-place order to be lifted, as well as Fire Chief that you just heard from moments ago. This is as recent of a look as we can get you while we work to get you back out here live. Of some of those ongoing repairs, but you can see how many people are on scene assisting with this effort, trying to get this repaired as efficiently